And I want to explain to our audience what that is. So basically, you move the person, you seize the person and then move him to a country where anything goes, basically, in order to get information out of him.
Right. The critics will say that rendition is a program where where the CIA would pick up a suspect, take them in a private Gulfstream jet, and deposit them someplace else in the world where they can use harsh methods that we can't use in the United States. And it was a program that actually began in the Clinton administration, but it grew exponentially during these years. And it became, according to critics, much less careful. So they actually wound up renditioning a couple of people who were innocent, and just because they were mistaken identity cases. And so in that particular case I was talking about, which is about a man named Ibn Sheikh al-Libi, he was renditioned to Egypt, and when he was there he fabricated what he thought his interrogators wanted to hear to make the pain stop. And what he thought they wanted to hear was that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. This was before the war. Mm-hmm. And he also told them that there were links between al-Qaeda and Saddam Hussein, which there were not, but he told them this because he could tell that's what they wanted to hear. And this information was transmitted back to the White House, where President Bush spoke about it in speeches, and Colin Powell, who was then Secretary of State, actually used this information in probably the most important speech before the war, which was the address to the United Nations. And you can look at the speech and you can see the details he's talking about that came from this detainee. A year later, the detainee retracted it all. He recanted, mm-hmm. and they said, why? And he said, I had to say something, they were killing me. Mm-hmm. But by then, you know, we'd invaded Iraq, and later, of course, it turned out there were no weapons of mass destruction, and there were no links between Saddam Hussein and al-Qaeda. But you can make people say what you want them to say by torturing them. And in fact, this program that